minutes. That is again another category of report which is called minutes. So similarly, case study, if you study something, go and study a tribal community, study their language, culture, and you prepare a case study, or you go and study a murder case or an accident case, and you prepare a case study based on different cases, also multiple cases, or you prepare a feasibility report. So see, there can be different, it is endless. So what I want to tell you, that there can be different formats to report writing. Like for example, one report writing which can be of help to you, let me explain: the minutes. Okay, so when you are having an official meeting, and then you are having the minutes of the meeting. So here it is written, your report must include the title, the name of those people who are present in the meeting, the venue of the meeting, the significant or important points that were discussed in the meeting, and the solutions that were suggested in the meeting. So these are the basic things which you must include in your minutes. Okay, including the title and the date of the meeting. So that is called minutes of the meeting. Now similarly, if you are writing a report, there are different formats. Like this is the format of the minutes of the meeting. Are you clear till now? All the students, are you taking notes? Yes. Don't listen
Yes,
to me
sir.
like a parvachan. Take notes. It's very important. Everything is different. I'll be talking a lot of things today. So take notes and write it down. Okay. So what I want to say is this is the minutes of the meeting. And similarly, there can be different kinds of reports. So again, a report can be also written in the form of a letter. I have already taught you letter writing, if you remember. So in letter writing, I have given you the format. The same format can be applied, and the heading or the subject can be of the letter can be report on this, and you can write it just like a letter. In the letter, you can have different, instead of writing one paragraph in the body, you can divide the body into different part. Like, dear sir, the following are is the report of the observation by this committee. Then you can have a heading called findings, this, that. You can divide into different sections. Okay, findings, discussions, all these things, and any conclusion if you have, that you can put, and then you can end the letter thanking you, yours faithfully. So what I want to say is that in a letter format also you can write a report. Okay, so depending on which kind of report it is. Now again, today the report writing that I'm going to teach you is the most important format which will come to your help. I have already told you, given you the format of writing minutes, which will also come to help once you join any office where you prepare reports, or where you need to understand the dynamics of the meeting. So what will happen there, it will be of help. Or today's report, if you are doing any research, today I will tell you how to prepare a research report. Okay, so I will also give you one research topic at the end of the day, at the end of this class. And you have to do is, you have to do your research and prepare a report accordingly. Okay, so first of all, let me tell you that in any report, whatever you have prepared already and submitted as assignment 1 can also be counted as a report, because essentially you wrote a report on a movie. Okay, because you have explained, you have found something, you have written it, but you have probably not written it exactly the way a research report should be written. So how a research report can be written? It is written just like a thesis or a book. So what happens is, there are a few things that you need to know. From the beginning, I'm telling you, just think you are opening a book. So you have a cover page, then you have a title page. So in the cover page, you have just the title and the name of the author, maybe. Or in the research report, what you have to do in the cover page, you have to include the title of your research, the logo of the institute, the name of your supervisor, and your name. So after that, when you go to the title page, you have to just include the title. That's it, nothing more than that. Then after the title page, what you can do is, you can include one acknowledgement page, where you can tell about who has contributed. Because generally when you do a research, you do not do it alone. You have to do it in collaboration with a lot of people who help you in doing that research. So you might be visiting library, you might be going to e-resources, you might be going to people and interacting with them and taking interviews. So that's why it is very important to validate and to acknowledge those help. Why so? Because remember, the more you acknowledge, the more resourceful your work will look like, and the more it will look like you have worked it out, you have done the research. So it will not look like it is a creative work or you have done it in isolation. So that's why acknowledgement is very important. Now, after acknowledgement, you can put a declaration page. So, in the declaration page where your heading will be declaration, what you can do is you can write down that this research work that you have done is an original work and has not been submitted in any other institute for any other degree. So, that is your personal declaration. And in that declaration, you can all of you can sign. So your sign comes in the declaration page, not on the front page. That's how research reports are different. So after the declaration, you can put a certificate page. So in that page, are you all taking notes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so after declaration, you can put a certificate page, and in the certificate, you can include, this is a certificate that your teacher is certifying to you, or your guide is certifying to you, or supervisor is certifying to you. So there in that page, you can include the same thing in different way, where the supervisor certifies that this work is done under my supervision, and it is an original work not submitted anywhere for any other degree. So then you can write the name of your supervisor. So that's how you prepare your certificates, everything, acknowledgement, declaration, certificate. Then after the certificate comes your content page, which you have many of you have missed. Like some of you in the previous report, have missed the entire theme. Like I told you, there are a few students who had doubts. Like I told you not to write down the summary of the story, but they have written the summary of the story throughout. So what I'm telling you, try to understand the dynamics of how it is supposed to be prepared. Well, so now again, I want to tell you that you have to include the content page, and in the content page, you have to give the page numbers properly. In one side, you put the chapters, other side, you put the page numbers. Your chapters can also have different sub chapters. So, under the chapters, you can even include the titles of the headings of your sub chapters in the content page, and also put the page number. And make sure you prepare the content page at the end of your project, so that you know which page numbers to include, right? So that is also very important. And now comes the most important part of a report, and that is the abstract of a report. Now, why abstract is the most important part? Abstract is important because it gives your report, a dimension. Like, for example, the person who will open your report will first read your abstract. From the abstract, the person will understand what is there in your research. So you might have prepared a report of two, like for example, when you will be doing your PhD or your MTech. Let's say, I'm not talking about the report which you will submit. Probably the report which you will submit, I will not ask you to submit more than 25 pages. But when you will be doing your research, there probably you will have to write a thesis of 200 pages. So there also, when you write an abstract, you have to write the abstract in one page or in one paragraph, actually, to be specific. So if you are writing a research paper, the abstract is one paragraph, and it is good if you write your abstract in one paragraph for a thesis, or you can maximum write it in one page. So when you summarize 200 pages into one page, it needs a lot of efficiency. So that's why you have to understand what are the basic things that you must include in your abstract, because your abstract will be there in the Google search. Your keywords that will be followed by the abstract will also be there. So whenever somebody will like to search the report or search parallel work, in this field, and they will Google the keywords that you have given, and the abstract that you have given will help them in landing on your article, so that your article will get the maximum eyeballs and visibility. So that's why it is very important to choose your words wisely, to represent your work wisely. So now, what are the things that needs to be included in the abstract? All of you take notes, don't just listen to me. So the most important thing, because you will have to write an abstract in your report that you will submit to me for your assignment too. So the abstract, first thing you have to include why you have carried this project. Write down, why did I carry out this project? Okay, the next thing, so I'm just telling you the questions, you have to write down the answers to this, and don't write the questions. So just in the abstract, don't write down the question why I have carried this, and the answer I have carried this because. I'm giving you the determiners of how to write an abstract. So if you answer these questions, then you will be able to write your abstract. So I'm just briefly telling you what to include in your abstract. You have to include why you have carried out this project. You have to include why, what did you do in this work exactly. Okay, what did you do in this work, and how did you do that? That is also very, very important. So what and why. Okay, so these two things you have to also include in your abstract. The next thing, you have to also include what are your agents, what have you found, what are your results of your work. Then you have to also talk about what was new, compared to the previous work. If there has been previous work that has been done in this area, then how your work is new and how your work is fulfilling the gap that was there in the area. So if you read a lot of previous research work, probably, or research papers, probably you will get the idea that how that work has been done, and how people have researched in this field, and what are the things that are still not researched, and how you can fulfill them. So what was new compared to the previous research, that also will be an element of your abstract. And also, what are the implications of your findings? Like, for example, you have found out what are my findings, but then what are the implications of the findings, how that finding will help the society. Because essentially, when you are doing a research to help the society, if you are not doing, you're not helping the society in any manner by your research, so then your research is void. So and remember, a research is not supposed to be something which is very, very successful. Suppose you are doing a research to find out a product, okay, and that product is not coming out at the end. Don't think that your research is null and void and you will not get a degree. No, PhD degree is also given to people who have failed in their experiments, but they have recorded that failure. Why so? Because others will know that if we do this, then we will fail. So that will help them by saving their time and energy, without wasting time and energy in all the 10 possible wrong directions that the person has done. They can choose something else, and maybe they will succeed, and probably they will succeed because they did not take those 10 directions that the failed person has taken. So definitely the failed person is a hero, because he or she has contributed in finding out what are the possible reasons of failure. So he or she should be given a PhD degree. So that's how, don't always have this idea that success is important. Failure is also important, and your research also validates that and acknowledges that. Okay, so that's how, what is the implication of my finding. Even if your research has failed, still your finding can have an implication in helping other scholars. So that can be also there. Now, what are your conclusions and recommendations? That means, what did you do you want to say at the end, and what do you recommend to future researchers who are probably working in this area? Or in this recommendation section also, you can also include what are the suppose you are doing a research, there will be some limitations to that research. You are a human being, you cannot include everything in your research. There will be some areas which okay, okay, this is the gap, so but still you are not able to address it. So that also, you can include in your future recommendation, that these areas can be covered by future researchers. So it is not humanly possible to do everything by one person. So that's why if you have even identified research gaps, there you can also tell that these gaps are still there and I have identified this. So that also speaks about your greatness. So it is very, very important that these things should come together in your abstract. Basically, what are the research methods that you are taking? What are the gaps you are covering? Why you are doing this? First of all, what are the methods you are taking? What are the gaps you are covering? And also, how your result will be helpful to the society, and what kind of recommendations you have for future researchers. So all these basic things are covered in your abstract of your research. Till now, am I clear? Have you understood what is an abstract now? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All of you, have you understood? Okay, so I assume that you have understood. So if you do not understand anything, tell me. I'm trying to make it very simple. I'm telling you in very simple words. Okay, so now the abstract has been discussed. So now what you have to do? You have to start your research. You have your cover page, you have your title page, you have your acknowledgement, you have your declaration, you have your certificate, you have your content page, you have an abstract. Then you can start. So how you have to divide your report into chapterization. So that chapterization I'll keep to you how you do it, but I will tell you the basic parts of a report. Okay, so the basic parts, because the chapterization can be it will depend on what your plan of is, and how your topic is, and what are your research goals. Okay, so what you have to do, first of all, understand that you have to give an introduction to your report, and generally people make introduction chapter 1. So in introduction, what do you need to understand? Okay, you have to understand, you have to introduce the concept first of all. Now what is exactly the concept that you have chosen to work? Then you have to elaborate the backdrop on which it actually stands. So every research tree, whenever you are doing a research, remember, research is not creative writing, because you can write a poetry, you can write a play, you can write a short film, you can direct it. That is your creativity. You will think of a situation and you'll write it. But research, you are not doing it alone. It is, you are not some creating something. So what you are doing, you are discovering something. Okay, so you are doing it by doing research. That means there is something which is there and you are searching it, and that has to be done by standing on the shoulder of giants. When you go to Google Scholar, Google has so many pages. It has Google Image, it has Google Books, it has Google videos. There can be many tabs to Google, and similarly there is one more tab called Google Scholar. So in Google Scholar, what you get all the research papers written by researchers, which have been published in different magazines, different journals, different research reservoirs have stored it. So different universities have their theses. So everything is available on Google Scholar. So once you go to Google Scholar page, and there is a search box. When you type on the search box a particular area or about a particular subject, you will get all the materials, all the research work, and all the papers. You can download also them for free. So that's how you get access to many materials about research and read them and find out what are the gaps in that area. So when you go and see the search bar of Google Scholar, you will see it will be written standing on the shoulder of giants. Why it is written? It is written because giants, GINTS, that means those who are successful in your field, those who have achieved a lot on your in the field of your research. You basically stand on their shoulders and perform your research, because the foundation has been laid. Nothing is new in research. You have to go ahead and dig deeper. So the foundation has been laid, and everything is dependent. It is intertextuality, it is inter subject, and it is multidisciplinary these days. Nobody can do it alone. You have to depend on different disciplines. You might have to take the help from a psychology expert, to help from a scientist, to help from an engineer. So all the even arts, science, engineering, medicine, medical, everything is merged up. Nothing is independent now. So if you're trying to do research, you have to take help from every sector. So that's why it is about standing on the shoulder of giants. So elaborate on the backdrop on which it actually stands, what has been done in that area, and then after that you can find out what are the gaps. So introduction will include your introduction to concepts, your elaboration of the background on which it stands, and then you determine the scope of the research. And in the scope of your research, you have to talk about what are the research gaps that you have found, and what are the aims and objectives of your research. Okay, so write down 3 to 5, 3 to 4, or 2 to 3 aims of your research. No more than that, because one research should not have a lot of aims. Otherwise, it can be divided into two different research works. So think about the aim of the research, and then also include what methods are you using in that research, and also your research limitations elaborately, because in abstract you will tell probably. And you are not going to discuss about your findings in your introduction. You are just going to discuss about all the other things, like introduce the concept, elaborate the background, and tell the scope. And the scope will include the gaps, the aims or objectives, the methods, the research questions that you might be having, or the limitations. These will be introduced in the introduction part of your of your thesis, so, or your report. So this is all about your introduction chapter. So am I clear to all of you, dear students? Am I clear about the introduction?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Great. So now what you need to do, you need to go move to the next element of your the report, research report, and the next element is discussion. Now, generally, what people do is people divide the discussion element into 2 to 3 chapters, depending on the availability of material, depending on what their research aims are and how they have divided their aims, maybe different aims into different chapters, or based on what kind of materials have. They have taken some kind of works and they have divided different works into different chapters. So discussion can be broad, it can be longer. So that's why it is discussion, and they can be divided into different chapters. Now, in that you can analyze the ideas systematically. You can analyze them and make sure that when you build those chapters, there is a smooth connection between all the chapters. It should not be like, there is something in chapter 2, like discussions can be divided into different chapters. If introduction is chapter 1, then discussion can be chapter 2, 3, 4, depending on how you do it. So if there is something in chapter 2, and there is some aspect which is discussed in chapter 3, then it should be like arranged like that aspect should be there in chapter 2, and the following aspects should be there in chapter 3. There has to be connectivity between all the discussion chapters. Okay, so make sure that connectivity is maintained. Wherever chapter wherever the first chapter of discussion is ending, it should end on a note that should connect to the idea which is there in the next chapter. Similarly, when the next chapter is ending, it should connect with an idea that will link it to the other chapter. So that's how you have to make sure that you arrange and organize your discussion. Okay, now let's come to the third element of a report, that is the conclusion. Conclusion is can be a separate chapter, like introduction is chapter 1, conclusion can be your last chapter, and discussion you can play and divide how you want to do. So in conclusion, the first element that you need to include in your conclusion is the summary. Okay, now what is the summary? The summary is summary of all the chapters. Okay, so basically a summary is an extended abstract. Okay, so abstract is brief and summary is the longer one. And in summary, you include all the chapters of the discussion and try to write every chapter in one small paragraph. Okay, so make sure that you summarize your discussion in this chapter and include the main points of all the chapters in summary. And in conclusion, the second element of conclusion is findings. What are exactly your findings? You write it down. Then what are the suggestions and recommendations? If you have any proposal for any authority, that also you include. If you have any proposal for future researchers, that you have to include. If you have any limitations or any specific area that you think needs to be addressed, that also include. So basically in a conclusion element, you write down the summary, the findings and suggestions. Okay, three elements: summary, findings and suggestions. So or suggestions or recommendations, or you can write. So basically now a report has three bigger elements: introduction, discussion and conclusion. In introduction, introduce the concept, elaborate the background, give the scope where you include all the details of the research, including the aims, objectives, your research questions, research methods. And also in the discussion, you divide it into different chapters, systematically connected. And in the conclusion, you write down the summary, the findings and suggestions and recommendations. And from the beginning, you have to include all the other formats that has been told to you. Now that after the conclusion is over, in a very brief manner, because still you are in your first semester of BTech and you will not include remember all the details. So what I want to tell you is that there are different style sets, and different style sets follow different kinds of different kinds of citing of works or referencing. Different style sets follow different kinds of referencing. Now what is referencing is, when you are doing a research, I already told you, you are not doing a creative writing. So you are not saying something alone, you are saying something by drawing it from another work. So in your discussion also, when you discuss about those concepts, you will take ideas from others and then you will cite those ideas. Because the difference between research and stealing somebody's work and claiming that it is yours is that in research you take information from others, tell that I have taken this information from this particular author, give the page number and the details, and there you tell that based on this I want to say that this. So that you have cited to the work that has been done by somebody else, and then you are building on that work and you are giving your own argument which is new. Your argument is new, but you are standing on the shoulder of that person. So that's how research is done. So now when you are giving a lot of, these are called citations. So when you're giving a lot of citations in your discussions, in your chapters, then what you have to do, how you give the citation, when you include the work or give an example of somebody's work, there in the bracket at the end of that sentence, in the bracket you write down the name of that person and the year of publication, or and also the page number if you want to include. And what you do, after your conclusion has ended, you go and have another segment which is called work cited or references, or sometimes it is also called bibliography. So what you can do there, you can include all the details of the books that you have followed in alphabetical order. You can write down the names of the author, the year of publication, the name of the book from where you have taken the citation, and the name of the publisher and the page number from where you have taken. So that you have to write just like I taught you in resume writing, just in comma comma. Just write, put name of the author, put a comma, year of publication, everything you put a comma and fashion it. So then after that you arrange them in alphabetical order, so that each unit will be treated as a different paragraph. And when you do A to Z in your Microsoft Word, it will again organize everything based on alphabetical order of the name of the author. So that's how you do your bibliography. And why that is important? That is important because if you include a reference section or bibliography, that shows that you have actually done a research, you have taken your resources correctly, you have not plagiarized, you have not done any kind of lifting from any other resource. It is your original contribution. That's why it is very important that you include the works cited element in your research. So, and that completes your research. After that, there can be different permutations and combinations, but it is up to you. if you want to include an index and other things based on your research work, or some people also can include diagrams, tables and charts depending on what their area of research is. So that's how a research thesis or a research report should be organized. Just a minute. Now coming to your project that you have to submit as assignment 2, the topic is very simple. Don't worry, I am not giving a report which will be difficult for you to write, because I know you have to submit within a week or 10 days. So the topic of the report is write a report. All of you write down the question for this examination. Write a report. Have you written till now?
Yes, sir.
Write a report on the representation of pandemics in global cinema. Okay. Write a report on the representation of pandemics in global cinema. So you search and find out what are pandemics, and then you find out what kind of cinema has been done globally and on pandemics, and you can select, important works that you feel are important, and make sure that you go to original sources, go to Netflix or Prime Videos or any other platform that you have subscribed to, and make sure that you find those films and watch them as groups, because this is again a group work. The same group that has submitted the assignment 1 will be submitting the assignment 2. So similarly, you have to divide your work and make sure that you mention that when you in your in your content page, you mention who has done what and basic things. I have already told you. So accordingly, first what you need to do, you have to watch a lot of films and then list down which are important ones on which you want to discuss, how pandemics are represented, what are the aspects that has been covered, how they have covered the society, how those movies are going to help the society, introduce the concept, elaborate the backdrop, and then write down what are the aims of this research, write down what are the methods you are going to use in writing this report, what kind of method you are going to it might be an analysis method, it might be a method where you have tried to do some critical interpretation. So it can be even a method where you have gone and done some kind of field study and found out from people, you have taken some interviews of people, maybe interview methods can be even included. And in methods you can include a lot of other methods. You can go ahead and search different research methods that will come to your help in this research. I'm leaving that to you. And then also go ahead and in the discussion element divide the report into different chapters based on different works that you choose, or based on the themes of the works that you choose. Think how you're going, that is up to the group work. All the group will the WhatsApp group, you discuss with the group members and find out how to do that. And the conclusion, you write the summary of all the chapters, write down what are exactly your findings and any suggestions and recommendations you have to also include in terms of society and in terms of filmmaking and in terms of representation of society. So all these things you have to work it out and try to submit the report. I'll give you the timeline. Wait. Okay, so we're on 26th today. So try to submit the report by next Monday. Okay, so submit the report on 7th. Okay, so work it out in this weekend and then keep working on it. And next week I will not take any classes. We will meet on next Saturday only. Okay, because from second, like first is the holiday, and from second we are having our examinations of higher semesters. So I am in the exam committee. So the entire week, the first half, like morning half, entire morning half, I'll be occupied in exam duty. So I'll not be able to conduct classes till next Friday. So I will take Saturday, like 5th of March, I will take the class. Am I clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
So I'm clearly audible, right? So I will take my next class on 5th of March, that is Saturday. So you can utilize the time that is available with you in this week and go ahead and utilize the weekend in watching some good cinema, and make sure that you prepare this report within time and submit. Again, next week also you are getting, Saturday, Sunday also you are getting. So you submit it on Monday, and there are a few other things which I will cover and complete your course by next week. So make sure that you utilize the time properly. You have a week's time. Make sure you utilize the time properly and collaborate with your group mates and work it out. So do I need to again specify which are the group? If you think I need to specify, then I will specify. Just hold on. Can you tell again? I'm not able to understand.
Where we place our member details page and the
Member
contribution
details
page.
means, okay, contribution, that means who has done what, that you can include in your content page when you are writing the different chapters and you are writing the page number on the right side. Just below the
Okay.
chapter, you can write down in small brackets the name of the students who have contributed in that chapter. Okay.
Okay. And the members which are in this project, can we write on the cover page?
No, that you will not write in the cover page. As I have told you, I'm repeating again, that has to be written on the declaration page, because declaration page is the page
Ach-
on which all of you are declaring that you have done this research and it is the work of original work and you have not submitted it anywhere else for any degree. So all of you, I have already discussed this in the class, but still if you have any doubt, you please note it that you have to write down your name and details and signature also, which is very important in your declaration page, and you can include the contributions in the content page. Yes, anything else?
No, sir. Thank you, sir.
Great. So now let me come to you and tell you the groups. R1 to R10 is group number 1. Next group is R12 to R20. Next is R21 to R30. Next R31 to R40. Next R41 to R50. Next R51 to R60. Next R61 to R70. Next R71 to R80. Next R81 to R90. And the last group is R91 to BT19 CME 098. So that's how you have to collaborate and work again. So you might be having your WhatsApp groups intact. So go ahead, brainstorm and work it out like a teamwork and submit me on the 7th. So, and we will meet on the 5th. Okay. So after this class, we'll meet on the 5th. So Saturday, everyone must attend the class because there are even more important things that I'm going to teach you. So all the best. Utilize the time in successfully doing your work. In between, if you have any doubt, you can ask me through your CR. Okay, Gauri?
Sir, there is a last question is that what is the ideal
Yes.
page should in this report?
I
Is
told
there
you
any?
that also, Saket, I have told. It should be 25 pages. I have told it in the lecture. Within
Okay.
25 pages, try to keep it. And make sure that you maintain uniform font size. Font should be 12 times New Roman. If you're including images, then include smaller images. I need more of content. And many students last time what they did is they just wrote the story and nothing else. I need more critical interpretation, more analysis. So you can think how you're going to discuss the representation using which kind of methods. That is again up to you. I want to make sure that you do it, because if I tell everything, then every report will look similar. So I want you to work hard on it and prepare it. So all the students brainstorm, divide the work and do it. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So Gauri, are you there?
Yes, sir,
Okay,
I'm
now,
there.
okay, very good. So have you taken the attendance?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So dear students, can I call it a class?